participation is very low in my region. Two, first, the culture has not given space for the women to have that space. The hardest and the toughest is that we are in a patriarchal society that has not moved.
The communities are not used to women as leaders. In a lot of traditional communities, leadership was given to men.
And following through on our commitments.
The problems caused by gender bias against women can be easily removed by having more women in leadership, women who are better placed to understand and empower the girl child. The Affirmative Actions policy aims to ensure that women have at least 30% representation in recruitment, promotion, and appointment at all decision-making levels so as to increase female participation and representation. But while the 2010 Constitution 2 champions for this through the two-thirds gender rule, the country has made little headway in securing leadership positions across Kenya. By the year 2015, women held a total of 26.63% of parastatal appointments, while men were far ahead at 73.37%. The 11th National Assembly fell short of the two-thirds gender rule, having a total of 281 male legislators out of a possible 349. Only 68 were women, forming only 19% of the total members of Parliament. Following the 2017 general election, out of 290 elective positions for the National Assembly, only 23 women were elected. The two-thirds gender rule requires at least 117 female members to reach the two-third gender threshold.
In this 12th Parliament, the way it is, we may only require an extra 39 members to be in the National Assembly, women to be in the National Assembly, and 3 in the Senate to be fully constitutional. And I think it's the Institute of Economic Affairs that did a very good breakdown of how we can achieve this and how we demystify it to be sounding expensive. The Institute of Economic Affairs had said, I think it was an extra of 58 shillings per Kenyan, to break it down to show the cost. Because there was a myth of if you bring more women, there will be too many in Parliament, and our proposal was simple. If you look at the county assemblies, Article 177 of the Constitution is very clear in the Constitution of the county assembly. So county assemblies are actually very well constituted, they are constitutional. And our argument was lift Article 177 to come to Article, I think, 94 to be able to deal with the balance in the National Assembly. That we get to elect, and if we have less women, we can nominate them to top up to get to not more than two-thirds, as is required by the Constitution.
The 2013-2017 Senate comprised of 47 male elected senators, 1 nominated male senator, and 28 nominated female senators. No woman was elected as governor. Today's Senate has only 3 women elected out of 47. This is a far cry from the ideal scenario that affirmative action promises.
We have managed to get 3 senators who are women. Last Parliament, we had 0 senator elected, we had 0 governor elected, and this 12th Parliament is a testimony that whatever happened in the 11th Parliament, when we had the first county MP sitting in Parliament, when we had the first nominated seat in the Senate to deal with the two-thirds gender balance, is working. And I can assure you, it can only get better. And we have continually encouraged the women, like the one who have come now. If you look at the 47 that were in the 11th Parliament, 37 didn't make it back to Parliament. It is that serious. It was an avalanche. And the turnover in Parliament is very high. It's like 70%. So we must look at very simple cases like the one for women reps who vied in the single-member constituencies. For nominated, like some of us, who identified a constituency and ran. Those who identified Senate and ran. I know many people, when I started running for MP Gilgil, came to even my house. I got delegations to tell me to run for women rep position, that it is automatic I will get it because it is women's seat. And I said no, because either way, that seat will be occupied by a woman. I have gotten 5 years head start. I've gotten an access to government. I've gotten an access to some resources. Because it's never easy to mount a campaign, we must encourage those who have gotten that affirmative action seats to actually identify a constituency and run. And I can assure you, we will be able to increase the numbers slowly but surely.
Get set, go!
So how come women have over the past decade been unable to achieve these things? From birth, many girls are socialized to believe their male counterparts have more to bring to the table, with many prioritizing the boys' education and future over the girls. Many are born into communities that have for centuries embraced such attitudes towards the female child.
In lower classes, we have many girls than boys, from class 1 up to class 4. But when it comes to class 5 up to class 8, the enrollment of girls go down. They drop out because of poverty and because of their parents not getting their basic needs, like their sanitary towels. So when they reach the monthly periods, most of the children, because they lack their pads, they stay at home. Some of our parents, because of their culture, they are still circumcising their girls. So when they circumcise a girl, they tell, wake up because now you are a woman. So because of that sentence, the girl will come knowing that now I am a real woman. So they'll start going into sex with the opposite sex, and this results into early pregnancies. And this is what will make the children to get out of school, because when now they are pregnant, their fathers and mothers sit down. Now the child is out of school. So the next thing they will plan is how to get rid of this child. They'll sell this child to another man. Even if the man is older or young, they'll get the child married off, the child to the people in the community.
Practices such as these slash women's education and financial prospects at an early age. Ignorance and poverty play a huge role in hindering girls from realizing their full potential.
Like in my school, we would have girls miss school because when they are on their menses, they cannot sustain the sanitary towels. So they would choose to stay home for the days that they are attending to their periods, which also disadvantage the child girl.
Women in leadership in local communities could be key to keeping young girls from resorting to such desperate measures to stay in school. It took Sophia Abdi 20 years to realize her ambitions of representing the people of Ijara constituency in Garissa County. In 1997, she was denied a certificate by her party, KANU. Even though she had won in the primaries, she still vied in the same year with Afford a Silly ticket.
I won the nomination. I came to KICC to pick my documents, and it was a shock. The whole group went to His Excellency the President, and they told him it is taboo, it is against Islam, it is against our culture, and we are in danger, Your Excellency, the President. If you allow Sophia to continue, yes, she has won, but we cannot. So His Excellency the President cancelled my nomination, the 11th hour.
But she was relentless. She would play a key role in constitutional amendments that would champion for affirmative action. She served in different capacities and committees as a nominated legislator. But in 2017, she would then thrust herself into elective politics, stamping her authority and winning her people's confidence.
2017, I never gave up. People told me, you are tired, you are exhausted, and you are out for 5 years, you didn't have a job. I told them, job is not an issue. Issue is I'm passionate of changing the status quo. I want to
give a different kind of leadership to the people of Ijara, and in particularly the northern Kenya.
But while it is clear that female representation at leadership and decision-making levels are key to solving gender discrimination, getting to such positions is no easy task. Women vying for elective positions have to contend with gender-based violence and intimidation from competitors and their supporters. For Millie Odhiambo, MP from Bitter, the 2017 campaign was the most costly.
Some of the challenges I could say that I experienced at the last election was that for the first time, a person in my campaign team was killed. My security was killed by one of my opponents. They literally chased him off the road and knocked him and killed him off the road. And secondly, they burnt my home, which to me really is not the big deal. It was nothing, it wasn't as important as human life, for instance. Property, if you burn for me, it's not a big deal because God can give me the opportunity and I will make again, or I can get property again.
One female candidate had earlier been raped when she vied for member of parliament. And in 2007, there is another female candidate who was stripped naked and was beaten, and even her arm was broken. So I was getting into politics knowing and having some little expectation. But the basic experience is that there is quite a bit of violence. And at some point, there was a lockdown. I was locked up in a certain center, and I had over 300 youth who were pelting stones at me and my team. Unfortunately, that day I went with a very small team. I was not proactive to see it coming because I was cheated that the ground was okay. So I bought into that and I went, and I had to be literally evacuated by police officers.
Women also lack funds to run campaigns.
Resources is one thing that actually affects women so very much. If women have resources, politics is not difficult because we have a culture that has been there since time immemorial. Handout issues, people anticipate a lot from politicians. So it is not limited to the women. They equally see women as people who are supposed to give out like their counterparts, men.
Resources is the major thing, and women they are not blessed in terms of financial capacity. So that is a major hindrance for women to go into political participation.
Women also experience propaganda and personal attacks, especially in the era of the internet.
The attacks on women and the challenges that we get as candidates or political players is that, first of all, your attack is neck down. You are hardly ever attacked on your intellect. You are attacked on who is the father of your children. Your children are paraded. Who did you give birth with? Who did you sleep with? Sexist kind of campaigns. We must deal with that. It does not matter if you're single. It does not matter if you're married or divorced, God forbid, or separated. You will get the same kind of attacks. If you're single, they will say you cannot run a home. If you're married, they will say they don't even like your husband. And I can assure you, all women in politics are a scandal waiting to happen. So I always say, the women in politics must stand with each other. It does not matter if you're in NASA. I cannot be the one to throw the stone because men have done worse, gotten away with it.
Jane Kihara remembers what it was like campaigning for herself for the first time in 2002. This was barely months after she had campaigned for her husband who died in office.
When I was campaigning for my husband, who was a man then, I noticed a difference. Immediately it was my turn because the story changed. They wanted to talk about my dressing. They wanted to talk about, it is the same election. They wanted to talk about what time I go home, who I'm with, who is seen with me. Many, many challenges. In fact, there are people who worked very closely with my husband, who I worked with to campaign for him. And immediately they went the other side, now to start talking about me. And you know, people would believe them because they have seen them with my husband.
She has reclaimed her seat after 10 years since the election of 2007.
I'm happy we are coming out of it. We can see areas that would never have dreamt of a woman being elected. So the country is getting out of there. And because women work hard, I hope eventually people will see women as leaders and as workers and managers, as opposed to demeaning them or trying to put them to kitchen and look after babies. There's a lot of advocacy that need to be told to the electorate, because some women just get into it and fear, because sometimes it turns ugly. There's kidnapping in some places. There is physical fighting. And of course, the insults. And lately, there is a new animal called social media. That one, they'll open a wall just to fix you.
Njoro constituency Member of Parliament Charity Gathambik Chepkwoni's journey to leadership started 10 years ago.
I tried the URP ticket for the same position, but during the general elections, it was so intimidating. There was so much bribery. There was a lot of chaos in 2013. I could not make it, but that one did not put me off from my focus, because I knew what I wanted to do for Njoro people. After I was defeated in 2013, I went back to the community, that is Njoro constituency. I continued with my normal works for youth empowerment, women empowerment, championing education and environmental conservations. And in 2017, it reached a time when Njoro people started pushing me that Charity resigned from your position as a national director, board member Kenya Literature Bureau, that we want to use you as a member of parliament. Actually, I thought, because I had fear of the previous experiences in 2013 of the intimidations, the propagandas about women, I was somehow fearing, but I made a decision. I said, let me try once again. And I went back through the Jubilee Party. I got focused and I went to the ground. It was not very simple. It was the hardest in Njoro constituency. I know even most of the other politicians from other constituencies, they used even to have a lot of mercy on me, but I kept it focused. I continued. I won the nominations for Jubilee, which surprised the majority of the men who had undermined me. But I thank God for Njoro people. They understood my concept. They understood my direction I wanted to take to them. And they voted for me on 8th. And I thank God that through the tough campaigns, I realized though women we pass through hell, it is good we get focused, we encourage ourselves, and we should not expect that campaigns are good.
A society with disenfranchised women is a broken society that lags behind. Women and girls make up 52% of Kenya's population. A lack of representation on issues that directly affect them has a great bearing on every sector of nation building. Women nurture and raise families and remain directly responsible for development from the home.
We must look at every law that comes to Parliament with a gender lens. When the budget is being done, we need to know how much is going to education, because who are the nurturers? They are the women. How much is going to sanitary towels? Because who are the girls who need, it is girls who need the sanitary towels. We want to know how much is going to reproductive health. How much is going to fight gender-based violence? How much is going to fight FGM? All those issues will come with the money. Otherwise, we will have just empty policies and have empty promises, empty laws that are not implementable. And for me, that is how I look at lawmaking function in Parliament, that this Parliament will be able to look and scrutinize. When we talk health, that is very critical to women, because we are the ones with the children, we are the ones who will take them to hospital. When we see allocation of mobile clinics, we want to know how many per county. We want to know how many have been upgraded to be able to be serious medical facilities. All these things have to go hand in hand. And I say that because I came to Parliament with a 2-month-old baby in 2013. I have given birth to another in the same Senate. And I can tell you, even when I came to Parliament, there were not even breastfeeding areas in Parliament. I'm the one who introduced them even to the Parliamentary Service Commission, because I was experiencing it. And that way, we were able to discuss that and take it up and have the same included in the Health Act. Now what we need to do is to push for the implementation.
If you go all the schools that are in my constituency before CDF. I'm the one who built those schools, water points, and food security. I have some and places where we started some small irrigation programs, and I did a lot of women empowerment program. In terms of giving grants, training them, giving them exposure. So I've done a lot before I came. Now they expect more than what I did for them before I became an elected member of parliament. My biggest challenge now is the community are facing is water. So I'm trying to get all the resources that I can get, both from the government, international community, donors, anybody. I address the issue of water.
Political leadership is a career like any other. The difference is it's a serious servanthood. It is a serious voice to change many people's lives. I thank God I was given that opportunity by Joro people. I have moved in every ministry, writing letters. The ministers and the PSs to know there's Joro constituency, which did not have roads, which has no water, which women and the youths are not empowered. Now those are the issues of the electricity. I thank God where I've reached. Right now there are roads going on in my place. Right now I have street lights in all my 6 wards.
Women are also intuitive and proven to have unmatched track records in development, lobbying and advocacy.
I wanted to serve the community at a position of influence. When I come as a lecturer and I want to see somebody concerning water in my village, there is bureaucracy. But when I come representing a particular group of people, given, like, for example, a constituency, I'm heard more. So the influence is very important, especially if you really have to make strides. If we do proposals, they should be fast-tracked so that we yield the results fast. But literally my constituency, women are crying over water. There is no water.
Moving forward, the clamour for affirmative action and more representation for women by right and not just favour continues. Between now and the next election, a stronger formation of women has to emerge if the goal must be attained.
There should be mutual coordination between the elected and the women who did not make it, because we no longer have competition. Nobody is vying, nobody is going for any political seat. So therefore it is development and mutual agreement, and we need to grow and mentor each other to that level, because we need additional people, members of parliament, women. We need additional members of county assemblies who will be women, basically MCAs. We need more MCAs elect, we need more member of parliament elect.
And how will more young girls be convinced to vie for elective posts? The battle first begins in the mind.
Come and vie. It's not a big deal. Don't come to fight men. Don't come to fight a fellow woman. If you have a vision and you feel called, because generally politics is a calling. There is nothing much you get from politics. People think you get power. It's a position of service.
Anytime they see a woman offering themselves for electoral office, they should just try that person, because women are serious. They never leave anything on the way. They don't drop the ball. They go all the way.
Challenges will always be there, but it will depend on our attitudes on how we change the challenges into opportunities. And that is what I will urge the young girls: take up leadership.
KEWOP, I think, in 10th Parliament did a study, and it showed that every woman who tried to run for a position had a 50% chance of being elected, doing nothing, just by running. So the biggest challenge is to actually get women out to seek for positions.
Find ways of being visible, be involved in your local community, be involved in church functions, be involved in fundraisers, empathize with people who have calamities, going for funerals and all that.
It is not a dirty game the way people have been cheating us. It is people who are looking for the positions who are dirty. And when you meet dirty people are using dirty language, it is them who are dirty. But political leadership is a career like any other.